Whoops. Here we are. Ooh, look at all the wonderful people. Hi, Honey Mender.
Hi,
Hi, how you doing?
doing okay.
Good, I'm glad. All righty, so let's get together, tuning up, tuning in, whatever. Okay, so begin heart breath. And inhale. Om Namo Gurudevaya Om Gurudevaya Namo Om Inhale and continue heart breath. Good. And continue. Today, this is Baba Siri Chand. And today, oh, by the way, there's a little squeak. Is there something in there? It's just a little squeak. Okay. So, for Baba Siri Chand, our concept is for uh, nutrition and nurture. You have that? Nutrition and nurture, and put it together. Okay. So continue for 3 minutes. Continue. And inhale. And continue breath. Okay. So, how about Salt City?
Oh, thank you. No, I'm a little surprised
Why?
because I've been getting this message for like the last few weeks, even months. And what I was like really clearly instructed was to change my, to make a huge thing of mung beans and rice, which I do with the other family, and do a mung beans and rice fast, which I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not entirely perfectly kind of worming in there, and I had COVID, and then I got long COVID, and it really affected my bowel, which I just don't want to be too graphic, but I have had diarrhea for 4 months.
Oh, no.
So for the mung beans and rice, just cleared that up, but it also helped me really focus in a much deeper way in my practice. And then I already worked, so what I got from Babaji was there's hunger of the body and there's hunger of the soul. And I was in two minds about going back to this dahlia farm. The Vietnam vet I work for can be very challenging. He's a beautiful person, but he's got really bad untreated PTSD. And he'll stand up in the field and say, "I'm still in love with my third wife." And then he'll deny that he ever said that, or, he's pretty challenging to deal with. Like he'll say to do something and he'll say, "I never said that." But I got that message. Flowers are like food for the soul. And then the other thing I did, and this was all kind of prompted by, sadhana and getting clear. I took a job at an organic farm, and I feel like that's really important on a soul sense. It's very, very important to have people be part of a community, growing their own food, eating organically, and the farm has a special program for poorer families. Like it can be fresh food for families that might not, organic food that they could never really afford to buy. So, hallelujah, Waheguru. I'm so grateful for the guidance, and I'm so grateful to have it affirmed with you guys. It means a lot to me. And I pass.
Okay. Is that it?
It was a lot for me, and what it just reinforces is the sense that the most nourishing way, the best way for us to nourish ourselves is to participate in the process. And these like community gardens really nourish us and soul. So it's been a lot for me. So yeah, I think it's more action oriented, and kind of been in a state of not, of really being unclear about what to do next. So it was a very good soul direction. And I hope that makes sense. And that's very nourishing in itself. And the whole thing about making mung beans and rice is it's group effort, and we provide, portions of it, the ashram, for the sacred practice of, the Gurdwara meal. And we also, I personally give it's important to nourish other people, and I give part of it, a certain, it's kind of based on the Bible, certain portion of what we cook. We cook many, many, many gallons and gallons of mung beans and rice. And that eating can be so simple and nutritious. It doesn't, it's really important to how my sadhana goes, how my temper goes, how my health goes, all that stuff.
Mm. Okay. And there's, we know about mung beans and rice, and there's a name for that, for
Kichiree.
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 You got
Yes.
it.
Yes.
Okay.
It was so inexpensive and so much more nutritious than expensive stuff to buy in the store.
Mhm.
Now I'll be able to use all the fresh vegetables, my share from working at the farm.
Okay.
Does that make sense, City Gian?
Okay. That's good. Okay. And that gives nurturing as well inside the body and as well as for the mental. Is that right?
Yeah, but also the flowers.
Say it again.
Are magical. I just should say something because they're very much a soul food that we don't eat, but they're from, Central America, southern Mexico, and they're like, for the indigenous people of that area, they're like yams, and they ate dahlia bulbs, cooked them, all sorts of delicious recipes. I've gotten kind of fascinated by indigenous cooking in that area. And then the amazing thing is that dahlias are infinite varieties. They're very kind of fussy in this weather, but they're so worth it. And people get to go in and pick, if they want, they can pick their own flowers, or we put together a bouquet for them. It's Audubon property that's free to rent, but you have to pay the insurance to farm on it. So prices are super low. Anybody can stop by. Lots of people stop by for funerals, for their wife or their husband or someone deceased, and all that stuff. So this dahlias are very powerful medicine for the soul, and it's great food for the body, though we don't eat dahlias like the Aztec did.
Mhm. Okay. Thank you, dear. Okay. Oh, and that's the rice is for basmati rice. Is that right?
Yes,
All right.
but lots of spices, ginger, turmeric, garlic, onions. It's very flavored, and it's pre-digested food, so it's really easy and very healing. It's basically taking my diarrhea away, or the post-COVID problem, because I guess post-COVID is the wrong name. It's post-viral syndrome, where you get COVID and all these immune reactions get ignited, and the body can have trouble turning them off. And in my case, it turned me off. It made me very, very tired. And I had to really use kichiree to heal it. And there's all those spices, pre-digested food, it's full nutrition, and then there's so many vegetables in it. It's carrots, celery, onions, leafy greens. It's really a fabulous food. And if anybody wants a recipe, we can reduce our 30 gallons to, we also have it. I'm making some for Avtarkar's daughter at her house because they're going to be gone. And Simran Kaur, their daughter, is trying to lose some weight, and it's really good for balancing your digestive system and helping you to lose weight. It balances the metabolism. It's a fabulous
Okay. So, City, would you write that out for the recipe?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
And then would you
Post it.
take to Japa Saraswati?
I need about a
Send it
week.
send
What?
it to me when you have it, and I'll put
Okay.
it in the description of this video so that anybody who wants it
Awesome.
can find it attached to the replay of the video.
Perfect.
Okay. Thank you. I'm happy to do that.
Good. Thank you so much.
Why
Okay.
do?
Yes. Okay. Sahej.
Lots not to be happy about.
Okay. Sahej. Sahej, are you there? Okay. Well, for right now, we'll go for Gian Sprem.
My guru. So yeah, the two words they sort of they come together, right? They're almost like a circle for me. And what I was seeing with that is the connection to the earth and how the earth represents our body as well too. But what I was seeing was different types of species and when we're a baby.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to be supplied with nutrition when we're at a young age, when we're at that elemental awakening or whatever you want to call it, that we need to have these things brought to us. So there's that nurturing, that almost that beginning of life noticing. So the different types of species, what they do is they almost go for different things, right? Bugs or what have you. So we're eating different things and we have the ability to grow from eating. And it's it's telling me going back to the breath and noticing back through the breath and coming through the channels. It's correlating to the channels of um, communications and opening of the channels in our body for the vibration, for that vibration and that light to be able to come through and heal. And it's coming from the ground, right? And it's coming up. And what Bubba was showing me was like pushing the colors, with that mentioning of the kichiree, right? The way the beans are, they have that shell on them, right? And the way the rice is, it has that aerodynamic shape, right? Where it gets to move through our intestines and cleans out our intestines, and it comes out and it's in this shape that resembles the inside of our intestines if we're nurturing ourselves and processing our foods and our thoughts and everything into the right way. We're actually looking at our poop right after we poop. So um, that nurturing too is sort of a way of noticing, right? Because what do cats do? I just had this dream last night or yesterday. It was just amazing. I was out in the woods. This is when I became awake to my dream. I was in the woods. I was noticing the ground, and there were pine needles, and I could notice where I was. And I heard this roar, and it was a lion or a tiger. And then I noticed a small tiger running through the woods, and it looked like he was running at me. So, of course, my defense is to go back inside, right? And to notice what's happening here so that I don't get all flustered, that I can notice what's happening to see. And then there was an animal that came in between the two of us, and it saw the tiger, and the tiger, chased it off. And then I was sitting there saying, oh, wow, isn't that something else? But then I realized that the roar came from the mother looking for the younger cub, and that I had to face that lion or that tiger, for that instance of me coming back into my breath of saying, okay, am I going to pick up this stick here and try to defend myself, or am I going to come back and, to say, where's my true protection here? Is this animal is already upon me, and I'm on down on the ground, so I come back to my breath, right? And I think that sort of comes back to that, nutrition of the learning, in a sense of what I'm here with, and that, the nurturing of all these other different lives here. And it just comes together. So, with the energy and the movement of the light and the traveling of the sound waves, all the way back to turning that, that AM radio on, which is a bunch of, right? Traveling through the air and us rubbing a bunch of stuff together in a box that allows us to pick up that communication, is the communication coming through us too, and back to that circle again. Yeah, so they really do come together with that nurture, nutrition, and nature. And now where we are at this point of the earth's progression, that we really have to notice that. And I think coming back and noticing, that strength of the breath, and that the total release and surrender, and noticing of that, that the way that the cycle comes through together and does what it does so powerfully, but yet we have our limits. So if we stay within the guidelines of that breathing, that we will be able to find that freedom eventually, because that circle of that life and death, the right of coming out and coming back in, and coming out and coming back in, of that cycle. From my experience, from my traumas, that I was able to actually experience that out of the body, way out of the body, above and above, that we have that ability, right, to notice that in the pictures of the globe and the earth and the rainbow and the colors, that we're all working here in this alchemy of this shared vibration. Yeah, and the words are just so beautiful, aren't they? They just go together, and like that, Waheguru, and yeah, and hands together and what have you. Yeah, of
Okay.
that grounding of being, we can push ourselves off the ground. We can, yeah, discover what we found from the ground. So to Waheguru, thank you so much for this opportunity, Baba Siri Chand, being able to move a little bit easier after all of these years of, expanding the breath and noticing the practice. Yeah, Waheguru.
Good. Okay. Thank you very much. So,
Thank you.
yeah, when you're talking about, it seems to me that you're talking the 5 elements with your nurturing and nurture. Is that true? You're talking about the vibrations with, what is it? The water, the earth, the,
The air,
yeah,
water, fire, metal, wood,
yeah,
air
yeah.
is, yeah.
Mhm.
And then how the vibrations move, and like how when we just turn on that radio, that, yeah,
Okay,
that all of those elements are in there, right? Allowing that energy to move through, how it moves through us too. And our communication travels like that amplitude modulation, right? The AM and the frequency. Yeah. So FM. Yeah. And then the AM and the PM too, right? Back to Waheguru. Thank you so
okay.
much.
Thank you so much. Okay, so is Sahej, are you here?
Yes, and I'm sorry. I was earlier. I had my hands full, and I was walking upstairs, and I couldn't quite get to my phone in time. But
Okay,
it's perfect because just now when Gian Prem was speaking, he said something in his flow about the movement of the light. But what I heard was the movement of delight. And I just started kind of chuckling because I was like, that's it. I know he was saying the movement of the light, but movement of delight is also part of what I'm hearing in this nurture nutrition, like the nutrition are those supportive elements that which literally feeds us and supports our experience, whether it's our body or whether it's elements of care that we need to sustain our life. And nurture is how our environment of our being, surely our body, and Satsiri was talking about the environment of her gut. And we can offer all kinds of nutrition, what we think of as nutritive things for the body.
Mm-hmm.
But if the environment of the gut is not balanced,
Mm-hmm.
it can't receive those nutrients.
Right.
And so the same, I think, is true of our mental and emotional and spiritual aspects of being. And at one point I flashed on this, like why we practice meditation, and we call it practice, is because we're creating an environment to be open to the space that meditation gives us, which is a space of nourishment.
Yes.
And we practice so that we can receive it. And I was thinking of how ayahuasca has gotten to be very in vogue. And what is happening to some people is that they have not prepared their environments properly, and they're not being guided by people who have prepared an environment for them properly. In some instances, and those people are having very difficult and sometimes destructive experiences because the nurture and the environment was not created first. And so they cannot properly receive the nutrition of what that ayahuasca presumably is, because there are also many people who's done time out of mind, as I understand it. I don't have much experience with it, but it's just what kind of floated into my sphere that, when it's just like, it's spring, it's like planting, you have to prepare the soil, you have to turn the soil and aerate it. And, how the soil will receive the seeds and how the seeds will receive their environment are all critical elements to how it's ultimately going to grow, or if it will grow at all. I don't know that any of that's an earth-shaking revelation, but that's what I got this morning.
Mm-hmm. No, it's good to remember that and to put it together.
Yeah, I think it's particularly in my life. I'm sorry if I interrupted you.
No, that's fine.
With meditation, the years of creating that environment, having the experience, and continuing the practice, so that when the time was on me, when I really needed to be able to enter that state and wasn't physically or even mentally able, excuse me, because of illness, to do the practice, it was okay, because I could enter the space without doing the prescribed practice, because the ground was prepared. And yeah, that's my best example. And it really saved me during really profound illness. And because I had nurtured that aspect of my being.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So have you also been with long COVID?
Yeah, 4 years. So I'm down here in Seattle to do a spate of tests in different disciplines
Mm-hmm.
to see if there's anything more supportive that medical doctors can do for me. So we shall see.
Mm-hmm. Good. Well, this,
Okay.
yeah, this is good that we all understand that among us. Okay, Hadi Munder. Hadi Munder.
I'm,
Yeah.
I'm not sure I have anything to add um, to what's been said, but um, I like, um, I don't know how, I've never gone to listen to the recordings at this point. I don't know how to do that. And so if the kichiree can be put on this, a regular phone, um, a
I'll send you a link, Harimander, to show you how to access it. It's 1, 2, 3 easy. But it sounds like we're gonna have to wait a week to get the recipe anyhow, so we have some time to figure it out too.
Oh,
yeah,
good.
no, I was thinking just put the link on the on a regular, the same link that you let us know what the video that the Zoom thing is. So just
Okay.
put it on the same, then that's easy.
Okay, that will be the, excuse me, that session for today would be nurture nutrition. Okay. And that would be for May 8th, 2024.
Yeah. And she's going to put the Kichiree link on our telephone connection.
Yes.
I like the idea of of flowers being food for the soul. It's good to be reminded that food is vibration and the elements are vibration. And I like the movement of delight, which it's important to remember in these times.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that the Kundalini Yoga said, that in the olden days you had to sit for hours and days and years to receive or to prepare to receive. And these days, all that work has been done and you can receive it. One can receive it just by being open to it. So that kind of talked about what Sahej was saying, that we've already created the environment, and so it can pop in because the work's been done.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's good.
And that's it.
Oh, okay. Good. Well, thank you so much, dear.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? Is it, wait a minute. Is there any possibility for Jagat Guru? Okay. Okay, so that's Angel, so that's fine. Okay, Japa Saraswati.
I got a number of messages all sort of interrelated, so gonna string them together like pearls. So the first thing I saw was about eating vital food, about eating living food, especially. And so, like, if you guys know about the gunas, there's tamasic, which is like oily and heavy and slow, and it classifies everything, whether it's foods or thoughts or activities. So there's first tamasic, then there's rajasic, which is more like energetic and peppy and like moving, but and then there's sattvic, which is um in flavor, it's considered lightly sweet, but it's not salty, it's not pungent, it's not sour, it's a little bit on the neutral side. But when we're meditating, so like all foods fall into these three categories too. And in my meditations, the last number of days and weeks, what's been coming up for me is about embracing a more sattvic diet. In order to augment my vibration, that like I want to vibrate at a higher frequency. And so in order to do that, one of the things that I really want to do is focus on a sattvic diet. And one of the messages as soon as I closed my eyes for this meditation was to not be eating dead food or to be eating vital food. And so I saw like all of the tamasic foods, like anything that's dead, basically like prepackaged, or anything that's been really high heat treated. I saw like oily things. I don't eat meat, but I really saw like that like that would be eating death for me, and that would be um making it harder for me to get my vibration where I want it, or where we're going. Um so that was one of my first messages. And then um to sort of dovetail with what Gian Prem said about do you guys know there's a story, and it goes through many cultures, like there's Native American will say this story with a wolf, or in India they'll say it with a lion, or in other cultures I've heard other animals, like. And so it's about a holy man describing the internal conflict in his spirit, that there are two, let's say, dogs or lions. There are two lions in his soul, and one of them is all of the negative qualities like jealousy and hatred and depression and self-pity and heavy, heavy, dark emotions. And then the other lion is a very soft, gentle, sweet lion that's like like a house friend, and that the two of them are constantly fighting for his soul in the parable. And the young person asks, well, which one wins? And he said, it's the one that you feed, it's the one that you nourish. And so like we have this choice of, well, for me, like eating with the gunas, when we eat food that's full of death, we are nourishing that darker dog or that darker lion. We're nourishing the darker aspects of self. And when we eat food that's full of light and food that's full of vitality, we are nourishing the part of ourself that is full of light and vitality. And then part of what I saw about this is about the mitochondria, which are the parts of our cells. So we were talking about about the five elements.
Oh, yeah.
And like
Wait a minute. Japa Saraswati, are you
Yes.
talking about the gunas?
No, now I have switched to elements, and I'm even going to switch it up more. because those elements are the 5 stages of mitochondria, and they're the 5 stages of life, basically. And cellular death. So like part of mitochondria is responsible for cell death. And when we eat really vital food, we enable our mitochondria to basically use the oxygen that we bring in through our breathing. The mitochondria can really help to rejuvenate our cells if we are eating vital food, and if we're taking good care of our body, if we're nurturing ourselves, then our mitochondria become they rejuvenate much faster, and this gives us a lot more elasticity and bounce. And it's like children, they turn over cells so quickly. Like that's part of why children are so bouncy and they repair so quickly. If a child gets a boo-boo, it heals itself really quickly. And that's part of the message from Baba today, is about really just doing things that will help to promote our cellular growth and to nurture the dog or the lion in our soul that is the one that is of the light, and to be really nurturing the light in ourselves, and to be feeding that light a really good diet. And the other important things about that are drinking plenty of water and getting plenty of sleep, and that's what's really going to help our mitochondria to boost up into health.
Mm-hmm. Good.
Yeah.
Okay, say it again. Water and
And
what?
sleep. And sleep and eating vital food. So like oh yeah, because it's about the gut microbiome. So like that's part of what my message has been for the last couple of days about my own nutrition, is that like I've been really understanding, how do I put it, about the vibration that we manifest in our outer world being such a big vibration, like a reflection of what's happening on our inner world. But what's happening on our inner world is really a lot of it is responsible, or it's a lot to do with our gut microbiome and like our internal flora
You're
that
talking about in your in what do you call that? Those in your bowels, right?
yes, and that really gets built up by eating a variety of foods, especially cruciferous foods, like especially high fiber foods, and especially probiotic foods. Those help to nourish the 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 buggies that live in our guts, basically. And that when those buggies are super healthy, um, it's helping us to create the vibration outside of our body. That's been my meditation for the last couple of days. That's why Baba's been telling me to eat more sattvic, and I guess I'm feeling like it's nourishing myself, like nurturing myself, I mean, by being nice in that way, creating that microbiota that I really want, in order that I can make my vibration where I want it to be. Because what I'm realizing is that it's all about the vibration that I put out, but that I can't be putting out, the highest quality vibration if I was to be like eating a bunch of Doritos and McDonald's or some such, like I have to really be, well, guess what? So I had the nicest dinner here with the Quakers on Friday night. It was a potluck, but I brought organic local asparagus and organic local beets, and I roasted, not beets, leeks, and I roasted them, and they were just so amazing. But right now it's getting to be fiddlehead season out in the woods of Maine. And so I'm looking forward to the fiddleheads this week coming up because they are a coming. And I really feel so good about doing that because it feels like taking wild food and like getting nourishment straight from the land. And I try not to cook it heavily because like I want all of the nutrients to be bioavailable to me. So that's like part of the thing. When our gut microbiome is really healthy, it helps us to digest the nutrients and take the nutrients into our body much more easily than if our guts are like busy fighting with our guts. You know, that then we can't absorb minerals and can't absorb the nutrients as well. And like that was another thing when I juiced all the time. I used to barely eat solid food and I used to really like to juice a lot. And what I would feel is I could feel this direct energy transfer of the fruits and vegetables that I had juiced. It was like those nutrients immediately went into my body, but it took a building up to it to get there with my cells that I was like ready for it, you know? And that's why some people get what do you call it? Like they start detoxing or something, is that they'll start to feel sick if they eat. Like the other thing I was gonna tell you guys about, you all already probably know about it, is wheatgrass. So for the cell mitochondria, um, the wheatgrass, one of the other things that mitochondria really does is it helps with antioxidants. So it makes it makes our cells able to carry oxygen more efficiently, or especially if it's healthy. And so, like wheatgrass, because it's basically chlorophyll, it carries oxygen super duper well. And so, if ever you want to give a boost to the mitochondria, you can take wheatgrass. And I believe that this is why I really don't have gray hair, is because I like love wheatgrass. I don't do it as much as I should anymore, or should. I mean, I used to grow it and now I don't, but I love wheatgrass and it really helps with cellular repair.
Mhm. Wonderful. Okay.
Yeah.
So everybody understand everything. Isn't that amazing? But just
Mm-hmm.
listen to Soul and Baba Siri Chand to feel about your nutrition and your nurture, right?
Mm-hmm.
Good. And is there anybody else that they understand what's happening? Or,
I'm channeling Jagat Gurukar because I'm going to tell you guys she's a wonderful cook. She's always in the kitchen and she's a mama. So she really understands nurturing and nutrition on so many levels. And I want to hear what she's got to say.
okay. Okay.
hmm
So is are you going to talk about that for Jagat Guru?
No, she's probably, you know what, she probably can't get on the phone, or else she would have, because there's background noise, or she's got workmen in the house, or
Oh,
she's doing something. She would usually be texting me, and you know, it's funny because I haven't talked to her in weeks and weeks, like longer than usual. So after we get off this call, I'm sure I'll have a phone call from her and we'll catch up. Or while I'm driving back to Massachusetts, which I don't want to do, I have to go back to Mass. But that'll be a good time to talk to her on the phone.
Mm-hmm. Oh, good. Okay. That's good. Okay, so Sahesh, would you lead us through our song?
Uh,
Sahesh? Sahesh?
sorry, Satnam, I will. I've got a bit of a frog in my throat, so bear with me. Let's inhale
Okay.
and exhale. And one more breath for good measure while I take a drink of water. Nourish my throat. And inhale to begin. May the long time sun shine upon you. All love surround you.
Surround you.
And the pure light within you guide your way on. May the long time sun shine upon you. All love surround you. And the pure light within you guide your way on. Guide your way on. Guide your way on.
Inhale. And bless you all. And let's bring together
Thank you so much, Gian.
nutrition with everything.
Mm.
And that for
Amen.
not true. Okay.
Olive
Thank you so
branch.
much, Gian.
Love you all. Mwah.
Love you. Love you.
Love you. Bye,
Bye,
everyone.
Guru.
Okay. See ya.